So we're talking about the coronation of His Majesty the King, which is coming up, which is very exciting. So with me in the studio is Lord Lieutenant of Hertfordshire, Robert Voss CBE. I might just add as well, Robert, welcome, that in February of 20, the Queen sanctioned you and honoured as Commander in the Order of St John. So you're also CSTJ after your name as well. What does that stand for? What does that mean?
Exactly that, Commander of St John.
Okay.
Well done.
And is that anything to do with me? No, not at all.
No,
where did that come from?
Well, I'm chairman of the... no, I'm not. I'm president of the Hertfordshire Priory Group, St John's Priory Group. So I've become quite active in St John and got my first aid badge. But I think they're great people, and I support them enormously in the county. Fantastic people.
And they're always everywhere, aren't they?
Absolutely brilliant.
So the King's Coronation then, you know, I was just chatting to you before we did this. No one really is going to remember the Queen in the 50s. You know, are you excited for it? What do you think we can expect? What do you think we're going to see? Because he was talking about it being a slightly more, I don't know, melted down version, maybe.
Slimmed down.
Slimmed down is the technical term.
It's difficult to know, really. As you say, nobody remembers. I was 4 months old, and I certainly don't remember the Queen's coronation. I think there's a statistic, it's something like 90-something% of the population won't have been alive or don't remember it. I think the slimmed-down version has probably been forgotten now. One has to remember, at the Queen's coronation, I think there were between 6,000 and 8,000 people in the Abbey because they built these rather flimsy structures. Health and safety won't allow that now. So the Abbey is only going to hold about 2,000. So not that many people will witness it. I think it'll be shorter because I seem to remember reading about it that the Queen's was about 2 hours, and I think the King's will be, they're saying, just over an hour or an hour and a half. But I think after the Queen's Jubilee and the funeral, I think it was realised that the success of the way we do these things ceremonially, not only in this country but around the world. They say there was an audience of over 4 billion watching the Queen's funeral, which, if you think about it, is about half the world's population.
Yeah.
And I think it's been realised that we do these things so well. The country needs a little bit of joy, a little bit of ceremony. So I think it will still be a very significant and reasonably large event.
So you, obviously you are going.
I've been invited.
You've been,
yes.
Oh, okay, you've been invited. Do you have to RSVP to something like that?
That's a good point. Yes, I don't think directly to His Majesty, but certainly to the palace. They need to know who's there. And if it'll almost certainly be a repeat of the funeral, which I attended as well.
Yeah.
Where we had to be in our seats by 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
And I think it'll be similar this time, with obviously very, very tight security. Quite rightly so. And of course, the whole of central London will probably be cordoned off again.
So the big lunch then. So sounds like a big lunch.
Yes, I mean, the big lunch, there will be events going on all over the county.
Yeah.
And I think street parties, of course, a lot is weather dependent, but let's hope and pray we get a weekend of sunshine. There'll be parties, there'll be street parties. I mean, I remember some during the Jubilee.
Yes.
I remember going to one in Radlett where the entire centre of Radlett became a street party.
Wow.
Hundreds of people there. But no, we're expecting a huge amount of things going on. We are trying to keep a list of them all, and hopefully they'll all be published on our website, and I'm sure you will give everybody our website details.
I will. I will. In fact, I'll read it right now so that people know where to go to, but your website, so it's lord-lieutenant-hearts.org.uk.
Thank you. I'm glad you reminded me because I never remember it. And also the County Council website and other local websites. So there'll be plenty of things going on. We hope people will stay sober enough to join us in the cathedral. But Sunday will be a very joyous and celebratory day, which is exactly what the King wants.
And then we come to the Monday, so the big help out. So what's the big help out?
Right, well, the big help out is something that was thought about, I don't know what the right expression is, by the Royal Voluntary Service and particularly the Scouting. And Matt Hyde, who is the CEO of Scouting UK, is a Hertfordshire St Albans resident, and this is one of his thoughts. It is basically an opportunity for all voluntary and charitable organisations to get out there and sell themselves, promote themselves, whatever expression you want to use, to the public. And if you look on now the Big Help Out website, which I think basically is the bighelpout.org.uk, I think.
Or Google it.
Or Google it, thank you very much.
Yeah.
You'll see there, you just put in your address, your locality, and there are lists and lists and lists already forming of events that are going on that people can go and visit. You can go and talk to people. It'll be in the streets. It'll be in village halls. Every type of organisation, voluntary organisation you can possibly think of, from the really big ones, the St John's and the British Heart Foundation and Scouting, etc., down to little tiny ones. And the idea is to promote and say to people the benefits of volunteering, the benefits to the organisations and the benefits to the individual.
Seems like, when we talk about the new king, which I'm getting more used to saying now, I must admit, that, there's a lot of, Charles has always been about togetherness, hasn't he? When you think about the things that he's done, his own trust and his own charitable work. But he certainly, it's nothing to say that the Queen didn't do any of this stuff, but he's very much about bringing people together and, youth as well. Everyone doing their bit, if you like. Have you noticed, since the King has come in now, taken over from the Queen, have you noticed any real change with the monarchy? Any real shift of focus or anything?
Yes, I think, as you say, he's very much more engaged with people. He loves people. And I think I always give the same example. If you remember when he was walking down, I think it was the Mall, and everybody was shaking his hand, and one lady jumped across and gave him a great big kiss on the cheek, and he just laughed and had a chat with her. That wouldn't have happened with the Queen. I think if somebody had done that with the Queen, they'd have been in handcuffs within a split second. That's really summarises the difference. The Queen was, how can I say it, perhaps old school.
Yeah.
And that's the way the monarch behaved. The King is the bridge between old and new school.
Yeah.
And I think he is bringing a new emphasis and a new engagement to the monarchy, which is obviously going to be extenuated with William.
Yeah, of course.
You only need to look at the way William and Catherine dress when they go to events. Very often he's in an open neck shirt or a sweater and jeans. You can't really imagine Prince Philip like that.
No.
And the King is not quite like that, but he's sort of a bridge between the two. So I think the way he's engaging with people is very much a changed monarchy. But similarly, I think he's keeping a very strict control of what goes on. I think he wants to know what's going on with the monarchy, with other members of the royal family, which is great because it means that the monarch knows exactly which direction people are going in, and he's very keen to support his themes of whether it's youth or the environment or engagement with people or diversity, etc., etc. And as you rightly say, we've seen this really from when he was at a very young age with the Prince's Trust, which has really been a fantastic organisation engaging with young people, particularly those from disadvantaged backgrounds. And I think he's continuing that, and we're seeing that in everything that he does and every theme that he supports.
We had, before we finish, we had Prince Edward come here to spend a day, who's now the Duke of Edinburgh, of course. It must be lovely for you to welcome the royal family into Hertfordshire and do, but was that, he seemed like a pretty much down-to-earth guy as well, considering he's one of the, which can we call it in a modern day, one of the OG, one of the original group?
I'm not going to comment on that. Yes, he was great. He was lovely. And we had Princess Anne was with us 10 days before that, and she was in fine form as well. She was presenting awards to young St John's recipients at Hatfield House. But The Earl of Wessex, as he was on the day I was with him, was great. He was really engaging. He engaged with absolutely everybody, and he met hundreds of people during the day. And like other members of the royal family, they have this wonderful ability to make sure they speak to and engage with everybody. And somebody once mentioned to me that most people will only ever meet a member of the royal family once in their lifetime, and they will remember every single word that member of the royal family says, probably for the rest of their lives.